gets into the 95 of Folks. Here comes the caution.
Flag is dropped here at Daytona, and away go for the first time. Nicholas Morcel, Sean.
Looks like most get through unscathed. Look at that, there's Reed Gibson. A big move at the inside line of Dom's, possibly a little bit of contact.
Now, as we've got 3 wide action going through turns 1 and 2.
And they're underway. Eric Hahn takes a nice jump. Wilson hasn't let him go very far.
Go out here for circuit disqualification. Alex Johnson's off to a brilliant start there.
Just how oddly shaped this one is. We saw in the background Eric Hahn go for a bit of a swing, and he's gone and he's over.
New stuff. Cody Graham's the one-on-one up into second place. Alex Johnson 6/10 the lead at the moment.
They're dicey up front. There's Andrew Kessel, Justin Sang.
They are ready to go. The lights are out, and away we go for the very first time here at Okayama International Circuit. Finley Fitzsimmons.
Tonight's Tuesday Night Sim Series brought to you by the Detroit Region Sports Car Club of America. With over 1,400 members, there is no shortage of knowledge, history, and trailblazing ideas like this Sim League. Thank you to participants and spectators for being part of the augmentation and evolution of the region. The DRSCCA, of course, goes beyond the virtual realm. In 2024, they will be hosting over 40 events over 60 days that can get you behind the wheel or so close to it that it will blow your hair back. The gamut of behind-the-wheel events include road racing, road rally, rallycross, autocross, and a competition driving school. Support for the Detroit Grand Prix, Formula SAE, and Street Survival are also amazing opportunities to help sculpt future and professional drivers. Check them out, DRSCCA.org, for more information. Whitlam Group, your first choice for all your labeling needs. Whitlam Group provides a variety of labeling solutions, including packaging, promotional, engineering, brand security, print on demand, and custom solutions. Located in Centerline, Michigan, Whitlam has a heart as big as their labeling options. They give back to their community by supporting the Children's Hospital of Michigan, Adopt a Child Project, Sweet Dreams Projects, COTS Detroit, Animal Welfare Society, and much more. Visit whitlam.com for details. Superlap, located on the world-renowned Woodward Avenue of Berkeley, Michigan, Superlap is a sim drive studio, a space to meet and compete. With professional-grade racing simulators, they are a premier racing and driving experience venue. They will help you achieve your motorsports goals with education, practice, and training. Maybe you're familiar with the world's most famous international Formula One series? Well, their best driver is a proponent of sim training and racing. If Max Verstappen uses a sim, shouldn't you? You can race and practice against an AI roster, go head-to-head with other humans, or both. They also offer league play, much like the DRSCCA League. Visit our friends at superlap.world for details. Waterford Hills Road Racing, Metro Detroit's only permanent sanctioned road course. Waterford Hills, located in Clarkston, Michigan, hosts a 6-weekend race series, competition driving school, and 9 public open track days. The track is hot from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on these event days and is open to the public. A nominal $5 entry fee is all it takes to get you close to the action. Check out waterfordhills.com for details. Thanks to our friends, the Michigan Turn Marshals, for their support of the DRSCCA Virtual Series. If you want to get close to the action, be sure to check out MichiganTurnMarshals.org. They can train you to support races like the Detroit Grand Prix. Again, check out our friends at MichiganTurnMarshals.org. Finally, a special thanks to all volunteers in the Detroit region and Waterford Hills. Without these volunteers, none of this would be possible. Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the Detroit SCCA Sim Series, bridging the gap between virtual and track racing. They were at my home track, my favorite track, Michelin Raceway, here at Road Atlanta. As always, I'm your host with Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, bringing the action 1080p, 60 frames a second, and accompanied by the world-famous Nick Rennell. Nick, say hello to the kids out there.
Hello, kids.
Yeah, perfect. We are back for another round of Spec Ford Racing, qualifying quite a bit of action with Robert Cusera in the 177 in the top spot. Ray Hilbert qualified second, and Ryan Carwile finished third. But Ryan, it's a very draft-dependent track. What do you think is going to happen here tonight in the hometown of Brazelton?
Definitely going to be a lot like that first race of the season at VIR with that long straight. Going to be a lot of strategy going on. No Russell Soto here today, but Ray Hilbert, a master of the draft at VIR, is going to be the one he's going to be somebody to look out for.
Yeah, it looks like when I was checking it out before, we had about 18 drivers putting down qualifying times, and with how close these drivers out on track, I think it's going to be very, very tough for anybody to really break away. Like you said, much like VIR, the draft allowing these guys to pull those guys back in. If they can stay within, 3/4 of a second, it's going to be very tough to get a clean breakaway. So I'm going to be curious to see if Kucera can do it here tonight, try and break away from the rest of the field, and if he can add another win to the belt of the 177.
Definitely. And it was interesting to watch Ryan and Ray last week at Mid-Ohio. I don't know if it was just a different style of track, not having that draft really affected them, but Kucera really came in strong last week, and Ray Hilbert and Ryan Carwile fell back a little bit. So I'm really curious to see here at Road Atlanta how that all works out.
Yeah, some great racing at Mid-Ohio, a very tough technical track, and running the shorter layout on the circuit to better fit these spec forward racers. So hopefully Road Atlanta is going to lend itself to some great racing. We've got Richard Scheib already getting some love from the fans. He's got Nick Block, One Love, giving him a shout out here in the spectator area. It's going to be interesting to see how that Whitlam Group back driver can do. Looking right now, looks like Richard's opting to stay in pit road during this warm-up. He's got enough seat time. He's feeling Road Atlanta doesn't want to show any more cars. Well, we've got about 7, 8 drivers, I think, here, Nick, that are still using that warm-up session to maybe find a little bit more time before we get ready for this 30-minute main event.
iRacing is tough, and the more laps you can put on these cars, the more you can get used to lower fuel in the car and more worn-out tires, the better off you're going to be by the end of that 30 minutes.
Yeah, tire wear definitely been a factor. We've also got drivers such as Ari Ritter, the number 27 machine, as we see him. I think that's going into coming out of turn 7, it looks like. We've got one driver off track. That was David Grzinski overshooting the mark there. I think that's going to be a big corner to watch here tonight. If you don't get 6 and 7 lined up perfectly, it really puts you on the back foot for the extremely long back stretch here at Road Atlanta. And these spec forward racers, they're only hitting, I'm seeing trap speed of 139 was set by Ryan Carwile. So not insanely fast out of these cars here today, but I would not be surprised if they're finding 5-10 miles per hour extra once we get this draft all linked up.
Absolutely. And like you said, that corner 7 there is so critical to get that long run down that straight. And it's a deceptive corner. It's over 90 degrees, and you come through 6, you're still carrying speed, and braking gets a little bit weird. You're still kind of in the turn. There's not a good marker here on iRacing for corner 7 for braking. And I like you said, I think we'll see some action there.
Yeah, I'm a little bit spoiled. I was actually out at Road Atlanta for a track day on Friday, so the track and its nuance is very fresh in my mind. So going to be interesting to see what these drivers are feeling compared to my experiences on Friday, and kind of seeing if some of these brake markers are the same these guys are going to be hitting. A little bit different for the spec forward class cars, but I mean, the line is the line. So I think once these guys get linked up and going, it's going to be a lot of momentum. Looks like 10 drivers have put down some laps here in qualifying. I believe 12 or 13. Getting a little bit more seat time in, spotting the track before we go out, but I'm interested. I mean, the last couple of rounds have been nonstop action. I would wager Road Atlanta is going to be the same if we can get the first lap done clean here tonight.
And Mid-Ohio last weekend, that corner 2, again, it was the short course, and I think it threw a lot of drivers off. You're trying to maintain speed through 1, and you're used to shooting down that straight, and they had to get on the brakes immediately, and that was a bedlam. I'm curious to see if Andrew Gross can hold on to all of his body panels today.
Yeah, Gross finishing last week, missing a whole lot of fiberglass, but let's take it to the grid. Starting on pole, Robert Kucera, the number 177. Ray Hilbert starting 2nd. Ryan Carwile starting 3rd. Megan Overstreet starts 4th. Ari Ritter starting 5th. Sean Fritz starts 6th. Jacob Mowid starting 7th. Trenton McMillian starting 8th. Dominic Bates starting 9th. Bob Kucera starting 10th. Richard Scheib starting 11th. Mike Knutson starting 12th. Cycled on back, we've got Jason Williams starting 13th. Michael Schmidt starts 14th. Andrew Gross, the number 69 machine, starting 15th. David Grzinski starting 16th. Stephen Kahn starting 17th. Andrew Mowat starting 18th. We've got Scott Shakin. He's showing starting 19th, but he's going to be our race control tonight. And Chris Walker will round out the car grid here today. Nick, it is time to go racing. Waiting for the lights to click off here at Road Atlanta. And we're going to follow one lap behind our iRacing safety car and then send them out and see what they can do. What are the corners that you're going to be watching here tonight to expect some big moves?
Corner 10A is the obvious choice going into that big braking zone. Going to see a lot of passing going into it. If the racing is close enough as they hit that braking zone, we might see some over-unders as people try to take advantage of that 10B corner. Definitely that 10 complex and then coming down the hill and you hit the next straight going into corner 1. I think that's the place to watch.
I'm going to be watching turn 1. There's a very large bump if you apex early, which is sometimes what drivers in a slower class car will do, is try and cut to that inside line. There's a large bump there, so I'm going to be watching that one tonight. And then I'm personally a big fan of turn 5, the left-hander right in front of Spectator Hill. Our drivers will be taking at the end of this, a little decaying the S's down the hill. So right about here is where I'm going to be watching. It's uphill, so drivers aren't going to be lifting a whole lot going into turn 5, but the line kind of funnels in together. So if we have any too wide action down the S's, I think that's going to be a hot spot of activity here today.
Absolutely, and I'm definitely jealous you've been there in person. You'll have to tell me if it's the same, but in iRacing, the curbs at 5 will really upset the car. And like you say, you're trying to carry as much speed through that left as you can as you head down into 6. And if you take those curbs too aggressive, if you get on the throttle too soon, you're going to lose the rear end and get some chaos.
No, that's a 1-to-1 replica there. Those curbs, probably 4 to 5 inches, but especially turn 5 where the curbing is built into the side of the hill, very elevated, and you can actually run a little bit wide at turn 5. There's a lot of the approved runoff that has the ripples and the paint with sand in it to still have grip. So if you come into 5 a little bit hot, it's not the end of the world. You have a little bit of runoff there before it eventually turns back into grass. So hopefully we're not seeing that tonight from our DRSCCA racers, but they've got a little bit more options through there if things do go a little bit south.
Definitely. And you mentioned too wide through the S's. Now I kind of hope we're going to see that, because that will be some great racing.
It is terrifying. Looks like the iRacing safety car is going to come down pit road as we go under the bridge here at Road Atlanta. And waiting for the lights to come on. And we are green flag racing here at the DRSCCA. Here we go, Nick. Already seeing some drivers hop out of line. Kucera trying to fend off the lead here from Ray Halbert. And I think it's going to be a very busy turn 1.
Ryan right on Kucera's bumper. Looking clean so far.
And you asked for too wide. There you go.
There it is.
Down the S's, drivers jockeying for position. Megan Overstreet, her 044 is going to get a little bit of a love tap there from Carwile in the 71. That's going to put Overstreet a little bit tight into 5, and she will slot back in ahead of Ritter. And there, right there, that was Ryan Carwile using that excess runoff in turn 5 we were talking about. So he found that 71 machine in a position he wasn't exactly excited to be in, but here we go, Nick. It's the backstretch at Road Atlanta in a very tight field here.
I'm showing Bob Kucera falling back. Don't know what's happening in the back of the field. Also showing Andrew Gross up 3 and battling pretty well with Mike Knudsen.
Now I'm surprised here to see Robert Kucera and Ray Hilbert have pulled a second on the rest of the field. Overstreet in front of Carwile, and Carwile pushing the 44 of Overstreet. Ritter pushing the back of Carwile. But let's see, is there going to be any big sends into 10A? Or looks like our competitors are going to be content running single file here and trying to whittle away at that second gap of Kucera and Hilbert.
Little drama in the background there. I'm a little curious how Megan will handle the bumping and dodging that these guys do. She wasn't out at VIR when they were doing the long straight with the draft, and I'm curious if she'll be able to go along with it well.
Luckily, I guess in her favor is she's up front of that pack of 4th and 5th. Carwile and Ritter right behind. I think I would rather be in that position where you're getting a little bit of a push down the backstretch as opposed to maybe being the pusher, and they've done a great job whittling away at the top two. Kucera and Hilbert have a lot of racecraft. They realize they're going to be faster running single file here, trying to break away from the rest of the field, but third place back, they've done a fantastic job reeling in these leaders.
Definitely.
Looks like Ritter's going to stay on the back of Carwile coming through turn 6 and 7. Overstreet, she has caught the tail end of the top two, so we may see these top three drivers working together here to try and break away. Carwile and Ritter about 7/10 back from those top three, and I mean they're linked up nose to tail, but Overstreet, I'm surprised she got a healthy breakaway there, and looks like that gap's going to grow a little bit as they go into 10A.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Kucera and Hilbert got into it a little bit and Megan caught up, or if she... Oh, Sean Fritz.
I just heard something. I think that was 10A.
Oh.
And Fritz missing all sorts of parts. So let's get a replay queued up here. See what happened to Fritz. That number 19 machine. I heard the tires squealing and the body work. Oh, nothing he could have done there. Gets cleared out from behind.
That's tough. And again, if you're looking too much at the car in front of you and not enough at your braking references, you're liable to plow right into the guy in front of you, and that's what must have happened.
Yeah, Fritz, I mean, he was at the front of that pack, had nowhere to go, hitting all of his marks, and when you're nose to tail like that, I'll see if I can get an onboard from somebody like Ritter or Carwile next time we're in the backstretch. But the only thing you can see is the rear helmet of the drivers in front of you. The visibility extremely limited, and as you said, if you can't see your reference marks, a quick way to have a bad day here at the fast backstretch. And we talked about trap speeds in the warm-up. Looks like Trent McMillian, one of the first drivers to hit 140 miles an hour out here at Road A. So, like the pace is waking up, and we're on board Ritter, the 27 machine. A little bit further back than I was expecting, so let's maybe try Ray Hilbert. There we go, on board with Hilbert.
Right on top of him. All right, and you see the way Hilbert backed off there a little bit so that he didn't slam to Kucera. That's what didn't happen to Fritz.
Yeah, exactly. It's a game of cat and mouse, and drivers being very, very careful not to have compounding issues. If something goes wrong when you're nose to tail, four cars deep into a heavy braking sector, there is no room to escape. I mean, you're just along for the ride at that point, but look at that,
Holy,
Nick.
this
Five
top
drivers.
Five just on top of each other. This is beautiful.
Yeah, Kucera still leads at Hilbert in second, but less than a second separating these top five drivers at this point. They have broken away from the rest of the pack by about 6.5 seconds. If we pan back, Jacob Mauer, the number 28 machine, he's got McMillian and Bates tucked in behind them. But I think it's going to be a big ask to try and track down those top five at this point, because they are by far and away just clicking off laps and really not battling too intently up here in the top five. It seems like only 5 minutes in, they're pretty happy running this thing single file and not putting too much pressure on each other.
Definitely. And I'm showing that 8 seconds between Moed, but I'm also showing roughly 2 seconds different in lap time between 5th place Ari Ritter and 6th place Jacob Moed. And I think those top five are all just going to continue pulling away.
Yeah, working that draft together, they're punching a clean hole through the air here at Road Atlanta. I think it's going to be about maybe 10 minutes to go, maybe 5 minutes left to go. We're going to see some big moves from these top five contenders, especially in the 10A. That was your place to watch for big sends, and I've got to agree, that is such a good opportunity to try and make a pass on the brakes. And I'm extremely impressed at how quickly these guys and gals are pulling away from the rest of the field.
Absolutely. A couple shout outs to the mid pack here. I'm showing Andrew Moed. I don't know if that's a relative of Jacob Moed, but Andrew Moed's up 4. Grodzinski is up 4. Andrew Gross is up 4. I don't want to curse any of them, but again, I love my boy Andrew. Glad to see him doing well in this race.
Yeah, right now we're focusing on the pack. You've got Grodzinski in 12th, Schmidt, Moed, and Newton in a nice tight bundle. And we've said this every week so far here at the Detroit SCCA Sim Series. Everywhere we pan the camera is fantastic racing. I mean, we've got battles right now, 4-car battles for 12th. We've got 2 or 3 drivers battling for 6. We've got 5 drivers in the top 5 right now. It is anybody's guess, but I mean, it's free to join to come out and compete with these drivers, and no matter where you're at on track, it seems like you're going to find yourself in a battle.
And that's just here on Tuesdays. On Thursdays, you get the same thing going with Miata races. So if you're not comfortable with the SRF, or if you prefer the Miata over the SRF, you got lots of options with the Detroit Region SCCA.
Looks like things are dicing up here a little bit in the top 5. I saw Ritter take a peek to the inside line of Carwile, hopping out of the draft through turn 9 in the backstretch. Lucera still leading us in the 177. Hilbert and Overstreet right there in tow as well. So even though we're only 7.5 minutes in, I'm seeing some drivers try and, take a peek here. And looks like, Nick, we've got another crash report. It's going to be Mr. Dominic Bates having problems, number 15 machine.
Just pushed it a little too hard going through there, carried a little bit too much speed.
Yeah, 10A got him a little bit. You have some side-by-side action from Andrew Moa, Dave Grzinski. That's going to be the 6th spot gain for the number 14 machine. Grzinski almost went off track. I wonder if he hit that curbing I was talking about. These drivers, these cars, very, very lightweight. So and you mentioned about the curbing in turn 5, very easy to upset the cars. Got more side-by-side action. Mike Knudsen makes a move through the S's against Andrew Gross's 69 machine.
Good
Pushes
move
out
from
of 5
Knudsen.
perfectly. We've got Mr. Russell Soto joining us in the spectator area, as we have Richard Scheib having issues. I think that was going to be through turn 6. Scheib might have missed the mark just a little bit. Let's see what happened to 79. Yep, came in too deep into 6.
A little hot.
Did a good job keeping it way far away from the concrete here. Now outside the concrete in turn 7, a huge drop down and a swamp there as well. So not a place you want to send anything tumbling outside the race surface.
Kind of sounds similar to Gingerman Corner 10. They put in a bit of a sand trap to help people, but I'm not sure if that's helped much.
Yep, a little bit of extra insurance.
Yeah.
Scheib trying to fire back against Williams. Scheib still up 2 positions so far. They can also see Trent McMillian, Jacob Mauer just ahead. And if we pan back to Andrew Gross, one of your favorites, the 69 machine, you can see Mike Knudsen about a second ahead of the student driver back 69. But you've got Andrew Moa, David Grzinski, Michael Schmidt right here in tow as well. I don't think there's a single driver out on track here tonight that has gotten a whole lot of clean air and a chance to relax. It has been frantic across the field of drivers keeping the pressure on and not allowing their competitors any sort of a break.
Everybody seems to be excelling really well here at Road Atlanta. I don't know if a little bit of extra practice time this week or everybody just really likes the course, but compared to Mid-Ohio, I feel like we're seeing a lot less unforced errors.
Yeah, and even Road Atlanta last year, it seemed like drivers were much more to start beating and banging very early on the race. So it seemed like a little bit more matureness out of our drivers the second time we've headed out to Road Atlanta with this series, the Tuesday night series. So very good to see. If I recall last season, some of the very fast drivers that could have been in a top 5 pack like this raced a little bit too hard too early, and that's just great drivers home early. But I'm optimistic if we can keep this racing up and get side-by-side battles late in the race from what these drivers can do, I'll be extremely impressed, as it looks like we're going to briefly go 3 wide into turn 12.
Scheib looking at it.
Yeah,
Scheib wants those places back bad.
I'm trying to say, it looks like he just barely showing ahead of Williams back and forth. Williams running the outside line, the number 5, Scheib right across that bump to slow him down. And
still too wide.
Yeah, not a lot of real estate here. Let's see what these drivers can do. And it looks like Jacob Mallett not going to lift either. He wants a piece of this.
Great racing.
Now we're going to go on board with Ryan Carwile through turn 6 and 7 here at Road A. There's the back of Megan Overstreet, 044 machine. She's up 1 spot into 3rd. Hard charge out on track. Still Andrew Mauer, the number 14 machine. And did you hear that? That sounded like a blip from Ryan Carwile. I'm not sure if he missed the shift or is doing something to try just... It almost seems like he's saving here.
With that draft, that might be exactly... maybe he's trying to keep the weight up? I don't know.
I'm not sure either. I haven't seen that. But that tells us the story. He is very happy running 4th on track in that number 71. Very interesting. I wonder if he just wants to keep the track position and just, you know, kind of hang out until we're a little bit closer to a white flag, and then we'll see him hop out of line and throw the elbows out here. But very interested to see the racecraft at play. You know who's not going to wait? Richard Scheib and Jason Williams are going for it here in that 8th place spot. And it looks like Williams is going to lose another spot, falling back to 9th to Jason Williams.
Woo! That's some tough competition for Williams.
That looks like an absolute blast. I mean, every lap, these guys have been going back and forth for position. Richard Scheib leading down the S's, holding on to that 7th place spot. Looks like he's going to get a pretty healthy breakaway as there's Jacob Mowat in the number 28. And I think Jason Williams is going to have to really hammer down here. Now, Dominic Bates, the number 15 machine, back down pit road to get that number 15 machine repaired a little bit and get back out on track. And I think wherever he's going to join at, still going to find good racing. And speaking of, there's Knudsen, Gross, and Andrew Mowat also having some side-by-side shenanigans.
Andrew fighting for his life out there.
Now, I'm surprised, Nick. We're not quite to the halfway mark, but I'm very surprised to still see the top 5 drivers, top 4 drivers, I should say, linked up nose to tail. No, we've got Ari Ritter at the tail end of that as well, so still the top 5. But look at the advantage that they have. They are 16 seconds up from the rest of the field here. In a 30-minute race, that is extremely quick, the pace they're carrying.
And you look at those lap times compared to the rest of the field, and you quickly understand why. To be honest, all 5 of these drivers are fast on their own, but the fact that they are hanging with each other and working with each other like this is incredibly impressive.
And I think the story tells as well about the trap speeds we're seeing. The top 3 drivers last lap was 136 miles an hour. Carwile in 4th, 139, and Ritter getting the biggest advantage from that draft. He was 4 miles an hour the back stretch. So the number... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
And all top 3 drivers are showing a 133.6, a couple hundredths of a second separating the top 3.
And I'm glad you said that. Ritter, a 133.22. So, I mean, it confirms the story. I think right now, don't get me wrong, they're going extremely fast, but seems like everybody's kind of biding their time, waiting for the laps to click off as we are past the halfway mark of today's main event. And oh my goodness, no room for error there as they're coming through.
Definitely curious when to see when they're going to get a little bit more aggressive here. See if we don't get any dive bombs coming into 10A there. Looks like Andrew's doing exactly what I'm thinking. Can he get around Mowat? He's got the inside line, but Mowat's got the inside for 10B. Nope, not quite.
That's going to allow Schmidt Grodzinski to close the gap here a little bit as well. Gross looks like he's still going to go for it again through the inside line in turn 12. Not a place you want to run off track. Woo! As we saw for the number 14 machine, and we are 2 wide and 2 deep into turn 1. Gross and Mowat leading Schmidt and Grodzinski up the hill, and it looks like Gross might have it here.
Very safe driving from both of them. Mowat didn't want to take out Gross and vice versa, and Andrew was able to capitalize.
Yeah, that's the fantastic racing we were talking about from these drivers. Now we're going to pan back up front. Looks like Kucera and Hilbert have pulled about a half-second on Overstreet. I wonder if she had a bit of a bobble, but she does have Carwile and Ritter right behind, so they're going to be able to push that 044 machine down the backstretch. We've seen the top 5 get kind of spread out before and then close the gap. And it seems like that's going to be the story once more, diving into 10A. Once again, the top 5 all linked up nose to tail.
Megan Overstreet still holding the fastest lap of the race so far with that 132.54. I'm watching all of the top 5's lap times as they come through, and definitely seeing a little bit of variance. I saw a bunch of 134s a couple laps ago, but it looks like they've all picked it up a touch, and they're back in the mid 133s.
Yeah, not allowing each other any chance of reprieve here. I mean, it's elbows out the entire way around. Speaking of, Andrew Mowat and Andrew Gross again battling for 11th. Oh, a bit of a blink there. I think that was from Mowat. Oh, this is very heavy. And these guys are battling for 11th. You would think it's the last lap of their Formula One careers with the show that we're seeing from these drivers. And was that a bobble? Yeah, Grudzinski.
It looks like Grudzinski got ahead, yeah. Andrew under attack.
On board, Bob Kucera charging up the hill of turn 5, spectator hill on the right. He's got a fantastic run out of 5. Are we going to see 3 wide before we go into 6? Looks like Kucera backed out of it a little bit. He saw what was coming and didn't want anything to do with it. Still side by side with Grudzinski, the number 75 machine. I think I saw a little bit of a tap there between Schmidt and Grudzinski. And they're going to lose a little bit of time, but if we go back to Trent McMillan in 12th, that is a very hectic pack going into 10A.
Shad going to have the inside? No. Ooh, Shad going real wide.
And that's going to give an opportunity to Jason Williams to try and fight back into 8th against Jacob Mawa's 28 machine. Oh, and something has happened to Andrew Mowat. I think that's for 10B. Let's see, does that number 14 machine get a little bit of help? I think it's going to be a solo incident.
Similar, went into 10A with too much speed, just like we saw earlier.
Yep, I mean the exact same. Very wisely waited for the track to clear up before rejoining, but we've got just a little bit over 10 minutes left to go here. The DRSCCA Back Forward Racer Series. Robert Kucera, Ray Hilbert, Megan Overstreet holding on to the top 3. Ryan Carwile and Ari Ritter rounding out the top 5 here. Nick, we've got 10 minutes left to go. What do you think is going to happen here in the back third of the race?
Megan looks hungry, and she came in strong at Mid-Ohio. Oh! As Ray Hilbert goes down the inside. Has the lead in 10A. Can he get the run?
Almost pushes wide there.
Kucera trying to dip in. Oh, Kucera with a run.
All right, so the gloves are off here on a Tuesday night. Kucera cutting the grass. Look at this, 3 wide. Overstreet's going to shoot to the inside line against Hilbert.
Taking advantage. I don't think Kucera expected Overstreet to be there. And Overstreet into the lead.
Yeah.
Oh, but Hilbert's not done.
All right, the gloves are off here in the top 5. Right now it's Hilbert, Overstreet, Ritter. We've got a little bit of off track from Robert Kucera. Void's getting into the back of Ryan Carwile. I think Ritter saw what was going on and says, you guys have at it. I'm going to watch this for lap.
I think Ritter got a little excited there. He definitely dipped off there going into the S's. Kucera from 1st to 5th momentarily in the matter of, 3-4 corners?
Yeah, I was not expecting that of Overstreet, for her to throw it in so deep and in turn 1, forcing a 3-wide situation. But she saw 2 drivers kind of distracted with each other and said, you know what, time to lick the stamp and send it. We've got Ryan Tebow joining us in the spectator area. Always great seeing Tebow join us for our races. Let's see, though, is Overstreet going to tuck in behind Hilbert in the 10A? Or is it her turn to send it in the 44? We know she's got the aggressiveness out of her. But is she going to wait a couple more laps? You know who's not going to wait?
Kucera on the inside. Overstreet keeping that inside line, though. Ooh, Carwile. Carwile through on the inside.
Yeah,
Does he have?
I think Overstreet had the momentum there. Sarah's gonna hold on to third, and they've actually shaken off Ari Ritter. He's fallen back a little bit in that 5th place spot. I would predict the number 27 machine sees very clearly the vortex of danger ahead of him.
But if he falls too far, he can't take advantage of further chaos. So he's got to play this a little careful.
Exactly, not to mention the chaos, but also the draft. Ritter's almost out of frame there. As we get on the S's, I'm going to be interested to see, can that number 27 machine close the gap coming out in the back stretch? You can consider the red, white, and blue number 71 machine a little over a second back as the top 4 drivers head into turn 6. It's going to be Hilbert leading the field onto the backstretch. Overstreet, I think, needs to get something going here because Kucera, well, maybe Overstreet's going to try and let Kucera pressure for the lead. That way it might take out 2 drivers she doesn't have to contend with.
Very strategic. I can see her doing that. She made some great moves in Mid-Ohio.
Now we're seeing a little bit of drafting alliance. Kucera tucks in behind Hilbert. Carwile tucks in behind Overstreet. Here comes Overstreet at the inside line to 10A. Will she have the momentum into 10B because Hilbert's going to fire back up the inside line side by side under the Fox Factory Bridge. And it looks like Overstreet's going to take over the race lead here. Hilbert second, Kucera third. And Hilbert cutting the grass a little bit there.
Hilbert using all of that track and more. Hilbert's catching up a touch. Still slightly slower lap times for most of the field on that last lap than we've been seeing when they've been running tight. Definitely a little bit chaotic. They've got the fire in their eyes. They're making small mistakes here and there.
Now, I believe Overstreet picked up her first DRSCCA virtual podium in the Miatas. And I think it was the Miatas. I'm fairly confident. Or maybe it was her first Spec Ford racer. I'll have to check my notes here momentarily.
She was third last week at Mid-O and the Spec Racer Ford.
Okay, so yeah, it was the Spec Fords where she picked up her first podium. So in her second race of the Tuesday night series, to be a podium contender is impressive in its own right, but to be up here battling for the lead against a stacked field of drivers, quite the accomplishment. And look at that, number 27 machine, Ari Ritter, has rejoined the field here as he still sits in 5th. I think Ritter's very much a dark horse as we're going to go 3 wide once more. Going to yield first. It's going to be Kucera versus Overstreet. I think Overstreet has the line here, though. She's guarding that inside line of 10B, but no, Kucera gets a great run out of the bridge. Overstreet,
that outside line at 10B. Yeah, that outside line at 10B, she took it last time against Hilbert, and she had a great run. Now it looks like Kucera took advantage of that. Ooh, 2 groups of 2 wide. Ari Ritter up into 3rd, passing Hilbert and Carwile.
Yeah.
He knew what he had to do.
Kucera back out front, Overstreet second, Ritter now up into 3rd, was biding his time in the number 27 machine. And now with less than 5 minutes left to go in today's feature event, wants a piece of the action here. Now, is he showing his cards a little bit early? Is he maybe waiting just till the right opportunity? You know, the old saying is you don't want to be the lead driver on the white flag lap, but I don't know if there is a good spot to be in for this one.
No, any of these 5 drivers could take the win in just 10A.
Well, let's see how this develops down the backstretch. If anybody hops out of line, or if they're going to be content running where they are. Sarah splits away from the rest of the pack. Ari Ritter is going to try and follow as Megan Overstreet goes as the race leader here. It's going to be a battle of the brakes into 10A. Overstreet looking to be in a good spot here. Sarah's going to go side by side with Ritter. Ritter trying to take over the 2nd place. A little bit of contact there between Ritter and Kucera, but no big issues.
Gotta watch out for Hilbert now.
Yeah, now this is what 2nd through 5th doesn't want to see. They don't want Overstreet to get a breakaway here. There's not enough time if Overstreet gets more than a second to shake off the draft of the drivers behind. that is going to hand her the race for everybody else.
0.7 of a second already. Oh, they're catching up a little bit.
I just saw somebody off track. That was Ray Hilbert taking the alternative route, the bus stop for the motorcycles. So Hilbert might have just put himself in a very difficult spot. He's about a second back from Ryan Carwile, and maybe his hopes have been answered as Ritter goes for a wild ride out of 5. Pushes way too wide. That allows Carwile to close the gap.
And Kucera right back on Megan's bumper.
Yeah, a little bit of a 2-car breakaway. They're about 9/10 up over 3rd place back. I think the white flag may be displayed. No, I think we're going to have one more lap, I think. Look at how the time's going to break down.
Oh, and Kucera's going for it. Oh, Kucera showing ahead by a touch into the braking zone. Oh.
Kucera takes over the lead on the backstretch through turn 9. Street's going to be playing second fiddle now. They're still about a second up from Ritter and Carwile. Hilbert about 1.2 seconds back from the top 4 drivers. So is this where the chess match begins? Does Overstreet want to be in this position to set up for a big move? Turn 10A and 10B.
And now it's completely on Megan to take down Kucera. She doesn't have the help of the chaos from Ritter and Carwile.
Yeah, it is just one-on-one here tonight. Both drivers have been extremely consistent despite being on the ragged edge. I mean, Ritter and Carwile, I don't know if they're entirely out of it. I think we're going to take the white flag this time by. I'm showing it's going to be about 29 minutes and 30 seconds next time these drivers make their way across the start-finish line. I'm curious to see, does Kucera and Overstreet want to settle this one-on-one? Are they maybe hoping for a little bit of shenanigans to catch up to them here and make this a 4-car shootout to the end? I would imagine they'd rather face off against each other instead of having some more variables thrown in the mix.
I think Kucera wants it to be just him and Megan, and I think Megan wants the rest of the gang involved. Trying to stay in that draft. Thought she had a run.
Right on the
she's
gearbox.
Close. Will she do it into the braking zone?
I think she's going to hang out here and wait for the white flag.
I think you're right.
Now,
I think she's going to try once more on this last lap.
Yeah, I think she's waiting for the backstretch. Now we have Ryan Tebow asking if it's the only race, and yes, the DRSCCA, they start qualifying, I believe, about 7:30 Eastern. And then they have, or it's a 20-minute qualifying session, a 10-minute warm-up, and then a 30-minute feature every Tuesday night. So the white flag is going to be out here at Road Atlanta. Robert Kucera continues to lead. Megan Overstreet second, Ari Ritter third, Ryan Carwile rounding out the top 4. And all eyes on Overstreet, her 044 machine. I think this is going to be a big send on the backstretch. I think that's where she's going to try and make something happen at.
And she lost her last, she lost the lead a couple laps ago in that turn 7. Kucera got a much better exit, and with that draft, both of those things combined was able to get a good run. So she has got to set up 7 perfectly, get as much speed as she can going down into 10.
Now, she's actually lost a little bit more time here. She's 6/10 off the back of Kucera. Is that going to be enough? She's going to have a little bit of drafting help from Ritter, but that's a big ask to close 6/10. You can see Kucera trying to break the draft, playing a game of high-speed snake here. Kucera showing 4/10 ahead. Ritter's not going to give Overstreet a single bit of a chance here. Overstreet's going to be deep on the brakes into 10A.
Can Megan do it? In the brakes. She's got the outside line. She's on a run.
Ritter pushes wide a little bit out of B. Overstreet's going to have the inside line through 12. Robert Kucera is going to pick up the win in the 177. Megan Overstreet in her second race, picking up second. And Ari Ritter will round out the top 3. Now, let's go back a little bit further. Still racing going on. Jacob Mowat trying to defend against Jason Williams. Looks like Mowat's going to hold on to another battle we have out there. Side by side is Bob Kucera and Andrew Gross down the backstretch. Kucera way off to the driver's left-hand side of the track. The guard into 10A.
Very defensive. Can Andrew get the line? Doesn't look like it. Doesn't quite have the speed.
There will hold on to 10th. And then another battle we have, Stephen Kahn, David Grzinski. We're side by side down the backstretch here at Road Atlanta. It looks like Kahn is going to lock up at 12th place.
Up 5 positions for Kahn as well. Great race. Oh, Grzinski. Oh,
He tried.
Oh, that was close. We need a finish line camera for that one. That would have been a good one.
Yeah, that would be.
Great race tonight. Man, those last couple laps, that top 5, Megan Overstreet battling Robert Kucera, Ari Ritter, Ryan Carwile, and Ray Hilbert. My God.
Yeah, great racing amongst all these competitors. We're going to get our top 3 drivers up here to victory lane. We've got Overstreet. She's made her way to the podium booth, waiting on Ritter and Robert Kucera. And it looks like we've got everybody here, so we'll do the usual. I ask, you ask, I ask. And we'll start this party off with Mr. Ari Ritter joining us. Ari, what a frantic battle from start to finish compared to last season. Probably some of the best racing we've seen in a while. And you guys all put on a fantastic show in the top 5.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. That last lap was really crazy. Oh, man.
Ari, you were just sitting back there that whole race, biding your time, waiting for the guys in front of you to get a little bit crazy and for you to pounce. How did it feel when you finally saw that opening?
Oh, it was a great moment. I mean, I definitely made a fair share of mistakes along the way. I think when we first broke, I went on a little excursion there. But once it finally happened, I was able to capitalize, and it was a lot of fun. It was great.
Now, doing well at Road Atlanta compared to last season, we saw a large portion of the drivers avoid the problems we faced last year. What do you think led to a little bit cleaner racing here in Braselton, Georgia, compared to last season?
I think last season, well, I was actually one of the drivers that ended up getting involved in the carnage early on in the race, and I think it was just the pack started to split up around lap 5 or 6 for some reason. I think we had a little bit more people with some level heads this time. We kept it clean until about lap 10, and then we started fighting. But yeah, that's I think the difference. But there were a lot of factors, I guess.
Well,
I
it was
think
a
it was
great race all the way around. A ton of fun for us to watch. Before I let you sign off and celebrate, who do you want to give a shout to that helped you pick up this 3rd place finish here tonight?
all right. Just everyone who puts together the whole lead, like Del Torre and Soto, Schmidt, the people who put on the practices, my family for keeping me encouraged and helping me out in real life with the cars. And yeah, pretty much everyone involved. Great show. Hope we can have a good one next week.
Awesome. Pleasure. Good having you up here in the booth. And again, hope to have you up here next week as well.
Yeah.
Congrats,
You
Ari.
too. Yeah, thanks.
That was Mr. Ritter bringing it home in 3rd. Up next, we've got Miss Megan Overstreet joining us in 2nd, the 044 machine. Megan, what a wild race start to finish. It seemed like it was a ton of bump drafting up here at Road Atlanta.
Oh, yeah, it was a lot of fun. I didn't get the bump draft nowhere near as much as I wanted to. I just did not have the pace coming through the midsection leading on the back straight. Once I got on the back straight, I was always about 3 car lengths behind. So by the time I was getting close enough, we're getting into the right-hander going downhill. Not the best place to bump draft, so I always avoided it. But that end was fun.
Yeah, that corner 7, we definitely noticed you struggle a little bit, and I think Kucera was really able to capitalize a couple of those laps. Now, Megan, from last week at Mid-Ohio, Robert and Russell kind of took off in the lead. You were kind of out there on your own. You ran a great race, great podium at Mid-O, but this race, being in the middle of the fight the whole race, how was that?
Oh, incredibly fun. Once we started battling, oh, that was so enjoyable. We were staying nice and clean with each other, but pushing real hard. You enjoy races like that when they happen.
It was a great race to watch. Those last couple battles were a fantastic race to watch.
Yep.
Well, Megan, it's your second time racing the Spec Fords here at the DRSCCA Sim Series. You picked up a podium in your debut, a second place in your second race. And what's it going to take to get that elusive win so far? Are we going to go 3 for 3 with podiums and possibly a win next week?
If I can get off work, maybe. But if not, then it doesn't look too likely. But there is still Thursday in the MX5, so we shall see.
Well, we're looking forward to it. Megan, a great run out there tonight. A ton of fun to watch. I'm sure just as much fun to drive. And before I let you go, who do you want to give a shout to that helped you pick up second place here tonight?
Well, thank y'all for doing the broadcast, the DRSCCA for putting on the race, the sponsors, everybody out there that's watching, and my parents that are also watching. Thank y'all a lot.
Awesome. Megan, always a pleasure, and hope to have you back up here next week if work allows.
Yep, thank you.
That was Megan Overstreet bringing it home in third. Up next, the man, the myth, the legend, Robert Cusera. Welcome to the top spot. The 177, an absolute frantic final 10 minutes here at Brazelton.
Yeah, I'm definitely glad to be back. I didn't know if I was gonna make it on the podium after the second half of that race. It got pretty wild towards the end.
Rob, great. Coming off your second win in a row here in the SRF. Yeah, you led almost the whole race, and then things started getting a little bit hairy at the end there. How did you, kind of get everything back under control and get back in the lead?
Yeah, I know the first half of the race, it was a little, straight lined, a little boring, but the second half, definitely a lot of battling started happening. And the big thing that I just wanted to focus on was trying to maybe get the draft on the last lap, and that didn't quite happen. I was trying to maybe play a little bit of strategy game on it, but I ended up being able to make just enough of a gap up on Megan on that last lap that they weren't able to catch me on the back straight, and stayed consistent through 10A and 10B and brought it home. But yeah, I definitely didn't know what was going to happen for most of the race there.
Now,
Definitely
Robert,
some sweaty palms there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
at what point did it seem like the top 5 universally think, all right, I guess we're going for it now?
I think Ray and I were on a separate Discord chat, and around the 12-minute mark, I said, we got to do something because I'm sure this isn't too fun to be watching. So he finally pulled the trigger on a move, and from there it was floodgates opened and everyone started battling. And I almost regretted my words on Ray telling him to pass, but it got wild. But I'm sure it was fun to watch. It was fun to race. Everyone kept it clean for the most part. I think Ray got bumped out into the grass at one point, but most of us kept it in one piece and brought it home.
Robert, a ton of fun to watch from our point of view up here in the booth. I know the fans enjoyed it as well. From every racer we've talked to, they all had a blast. So a great run here at Road Atlanta, picking up another win for the 177. And you've got the privilege, the pleasure, the final send-offs of the night. Who do you want to give a shout out to that helped make it happen for you?
Yeah, I want to thank Bob, my dad. I want to thank Ray. They definitely helped me practice. We were putting in some laps there Monday. I want to thank the Detroit Region SCCA for putting this on, the Goon Squad for broadcasting us, and everyone that makes this happen, because it's definitely a fun Tuesday night for all of us.
Awesome. Robert, a pleasure having you back up here. Hopefully you can make it 3 in a row next week. And again, a huge congratulations on a fantastic showing here tonight.
Thanks for having me, guys.
That was Robert Cusera in the top spot, Dick. A wild race from start to finish. Back-to-back wins for Cusera, and just one of the best top 5 battles I think I've ever seen in any of my iRacing events.
It just would not stop. Once the floodgates opened, as Rob put it in his interview there, once those floodgates opened, the battle was on, and it was a great one.
Good to see Robert Cusera in the top spot. He was accompanied by Megan Overstreet, her second race, picking up her first second-place finish. And Mr. Ari Ritter finishing third, the number 27. On behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting and the DRSCCA.org, my name has been James East, accompanied by the world-famous Nick Rennell. Thank you all so much for spending your Tuesday night with us, and we'll see you at the next one. Have a great night, everybody.